Okay, so this review is of Solid Gold Indigo Moon High Protein with Chicken and Egg, Grain-Free, Gluten-Free, Gut Health for cats of all life stages, cleanse, balance, and fuel. So it's overall immune support. I don't know how much of this is factual and how much of this is just the typical marketing gobbledygook, but here's what I can tell you. I did research on cat food because when I called my former vet, who didn't deserve to be my vet, my cat's vet, I should say, I asked them, I said, what kind of food do you recommend? And they said, it's all good. And I knew that was crap. So that really knocked my opinion of that particular veterinary office down a few pegs, because if you can't tell me which foods I should be avoiding at the very least, if not which foods I should be preferring, then you really don't know what you're talking about as a veterinarian. And I understand that vets don't necessarily specialize in nutrition, but if you can't tell your customers how to take care of their pets properly, you probably don't deserve to have their business. That's my opinion. I'm not going to name whom that was. But I don't go to them anymore. They also overcharged, and in addition to that, they were asking for vaccinations on a yearly basis when they didn't need to be done on a yearly basis. So, anyways, I am digressing so much, making this video much too long. So I did some research, and I discovered that in case studies, not case studies, in experiments where they would give cats free choice between protein source, fat source, and carbohydrate source, the cats would eat around 53 to 50%, 56% protein, and then another 30-some% of fat, and consistently about 11% carbohydrates. Now, this doesn't have carbohydrates, but that gave me numbers to look for. Okay, so first thing I did is I looked at Aldi's food, and Aldi's food, now I'm talking about kibble, okay? Kibble, which is reputed to be bad for cats, there's a lot of bad publicity out there about kibble because of the processing and stuff like that, and I can understand that. But I looked at the kibble that Aldi supplies, and it's pretty crappy. I also looked at some of their wet food, and it also was not impressive. But I looked at wet food in general. Wet food in general is like 80-some to 90-some% liquid, as opposed to the fat and protein and even carbohydrates that a cat wants or needs. Now, cats do not need sugar. So if you see a product that has a bunch of sugar in it, you should definitely be avoiding that because they don't want it, they don't need it, they can't even taste it. So they can't tell when they're getting too much. So my dear little cat here would end up being extremely fat if I were to feed him sweet food. Okay? Now, what I look for is this. I look on the packaging until I find guaranteed analysis. And now, as you can see, this is not at the 50, 30, and 10. In fact, there is no carbohydrate listing here. After I went to Aldi, I went to Kroger. Kroger had almost nothing that was worth looking at. I went to Meijer. Meijer had almost nothing that was worth looking at. Everything was like 30 and 10, and then the teens, and or worse. And it was all very common, well-known, highly advertised brands like Meow Mix and Fancy Feast and all those brands that I grew up seeing on TV all the time. They're really not that good for your cats. Now, here's something interesting. Moisture, maximum 100%. Huh. You look at wet food, it's got 80%, and then these numbers just plummet. To like, it's just teens and single digits. And then it's got taurine and omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, ascorbic acid, and it's got microorganisms. There should be other things in here other than just taurine, DHA, and the other omegas. Ideally, you should be getting other things, so you're not seeing it on the list. And here are... Oh, my God. So then I went to PetSmart, and while I was at Aldi, Kroger, and Meijer, I couldn't find anything that had anything more than 30-something and in the teens for fat. Well, at PetSmart, I managed to find things like this that at least had 40-something protein and at least high teens, low 20s for fat. So that was an improvement that I thought was worth it. And here are the ingredients that they have in here. And then there's all this marketing crap on the back. I don't know if it's any of it's factual. And it gives you feeding instructions based on the weight of the cat. I do not worry about feeding instructions, and the reason I don't, and they very prominently display the protein and fat and fiber, which is great. The reason I don't is my cat is not an overeater. My cat eats what it needs, and he stops. So here's the thing. I got this product, and then I also got Nulo Metal Series Grain-Free Adult Salmon and Lentils Recipe. He's not very fond of that one. And I got him Instinct Raw Boost, High Protein Kibble, and Freeze-Dried Raw, Grain-Free Recipe with Real Duck. Okay, so when I put all these out, I just left all three of the containers out, open like this one is. He initially started eating the Instinct, but and a tiny bit the Nulo. But then after a few days, he suddenly went really, really intensely into the solid gold. And he pretty much ignored the Nulo and almost ignored the Instinct. When the container was empty, I decided to not give him any more solid gold to see how it would go with these two. What happened was, okay, there are two things that happened. Number one, he was chewing on the solid gold bag, trying to get it open, which is what he does when he really likes a food. Number two, he then started to eat this one heavily, and he started vomiting. One day I got up, and there was a huge puddle of vomit right over here, and there was another vomit puddle over there, and it was not good, but I didn't know what caused it. And then, like a week later, I woke up, and there was vomit here. There was vomit everywhere. And so I closed up the bag. I closed up the container so he couldn't get into it at all unless he were to chew it open. And as you can see, there's, aside from that little mark there, he has made no effort to get into the Instinct. So then I just left this one open. And as you can see, he's been eating it, which is fine. But, you know, obviously I'm not going to be getting that one again because he just doesn't seem to be that interested. I don't know if it's the salmon or if it's the lentils. And I don't know what was causing him to vomit. I'm assuming it's the raw food that was in the freeze-dried raw food that was in here. All I can tell you is that since I stopped allowing him to eat the Instinct, yes, my dear boy, yes, since I stopped allowing him to eat the Instinct Raw Boost, he has stopped vomiting. He is fine now. So this is absolutely something. And again, I don't know if it's just this particular type or if it's all Raw Boost, but I'm never going to let him have this stuff again. Now, I just wanted to show you that, and I'm going to, here you go. The guaranteed analysis is pretty good, especially for the fat. It's higher than the solid gold, and it's a little bit lower than the solid gold for crude protein. And the Nulo, whoops, they're not shy. Where did they hide it? Ah, here it is. It's a little bit lower on protein than solid gold, a little bit lower on protein, on fat than solid gold, than Instinct. I may try a different Instinct, but this one, he's just marking that with his scent gland. This is off limits forever. I'm going to be returning this to the store. I'm going to be calling the company and complaining. Nulo, this particular Nulo, I will not try again. I will try others, and I will do in the future. I will do other videos so that you can see my cat's experience, Sherlock Potato Pancakes experience with And you can see he's chewed all around the cat's eye here. He's chewed around here. And this is what he does when he likes a product. I actually have to hide them under the sink just in case, because otherwise he'll start chewing them open. He can smell. So anyways, it may have been that he chewed on this one because it's not a resealable bag, which is Solid Gold. Please make these resealable bags. And maybe that was the only reason. Those two over there have Ziplocs. So I wanted to share this with you because I want to show you that Solid Gold's Indigo Moon seems to be, for my cat at least, a very favorable choice. And the Instinct Raw Boost team seems to be a dangerous choice. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.